Welcome to PBS Together, where your passion for positive behaviour support becomes a pathway to excellence. Experience a platform crafted by practitioners for practitioners, combining the finest in online education to enhance your professional journey. Our bespoke courses go beyond traditional learning. Here, you don't just watch videos or tick boxes in quizzes. Instead, you'll demonstrate vital skills, preparing you for real-life challenges in your practice. Join our thriving community through tailored membership options. Access everything you need: interactive courses, webinars by global experts, supervision groups, and a trove of resources. Embark on a rewarding endeavour with PBS Together. Express your interest today and unlock a special discount for our founding members. So welcome everybody. We are super excited to have Murilo share his expertise here today. We have people from all over the globe. Super impressive. We've got people from Australia, New Zealand, the UK, Brazil, Papua New Guinea, Guam, South Africa, USA, pretty much everywhere. We're super excited. And so, as you've just heard, PBS Together will be launching soon. So please watch this space because it's going to be so exciting. We're super excited. We've all been working really hard behind the scenes. And we're going to have all interactive courses, webinars, lunchtime supervision sessions, special events, tools, resources. It's going to be a one-stop shop for behaviour practitioners and a whole bunch of things we're going to be offering for parents as well. So I'm going to let Helder introduce Murilo properly because he's just a superhuman and we're so excited that he's here. And he's going to share ways to improve the connection between dogs and children. Like, who doesn't want to know that, right? Some ideas for practitioners and parents and how we can take advantage of that connection and assist with child development and help kids to learn really key functional skills. So we're busting. I love dogs. I love kids. Over to you, Professor Gusso.
Hi, good morning, everyone, or good night. I don't know where in the world are you at this moment. I'm really excited to be here. I'm really excited about all the things that is going on PBS Together. And especially, I'm really happy to be here in our first webinar with Murilo Garcia. Murilo is a personal friend. I met him when we were at our master psychology course, and I follow him all the steps through his career, fostering relationships between families and dogs, and all the achievements that he did in his professional life. And it's really nice to be here today. For those who don't know Murilo, let me say just a few things about him. He's a bachelor and a master in psychology. His master is in psychology and behavior analysis in special. He's a professional drug trainer with a long history of achievements and a long list of courses and system that he created, like the balance of reinforcement system, that it's a system that is really well known along all the field of dog trainers in Brazil. So today we have him with us to discuss a little bit about the relations between children and dogs. So Murilo, it's up to you. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Okay. Can you guys hear me well?
Yes, we can.
Okay. First of all, I want to thank you, Professor Gusso, for his words and for inviting me to share a little bit of my knowledge with you guys. I want to thank everyone working with Professor Gusso for this opportunity. And second of all, I would like to thank all you guys that got interested in what I have to say. And going on, I would like to apologize in advance for my rusty English. It's been a long time since I don't practice it. So I need your patience with all you guys, but I'm gonna try to give my best to share how we can have dogs in our lives, in our practice, to make to teach behavior, good behaviors for children, for parents, and for practitioners alongside their work. Okay, so going in a certain way, the first thing that we have to think about is that dogs were the first animals that humankind have domesticated. So we have been selecting them to be our best friends, as I can say, for thousands of generations. So dogs started to be around us even before agriculture, and have we have shared food and space with them. And the tameable animals started to live around us, and then we start to feed them, and we learned that we could use their behaviors in our benefit. And in their side also, they see that living around us was something very good. So we started to cohabitate the two species, and the dogs who were more prone to live among us and give their best behaviors in our benefit were selected by our protection, by our element, by we're giving food to them, by we're providing a lot of things. So we started to select them to be useful to us, going going, how can I say, having them in our lives, and also using what they already have in their genetics. That is, they are social animals, they are pack animals. So they already have some things that are common to our species. So it made it easier for us to live together and start this strong bond that we have. So throughout thousands of generations, we selected the best animals, of the best of the best of the best, to serve us in a lot of purpose, such as hunting, guarding, and how can I forgot the word, is like huskies, that they take us. I hope you guys understand what I want to say. But when you have huskies, that they take us in the, okay, you guys got it. So we have for a number of purposes, and all this time we have to work together, and we have to live in a good life together. And as social animals, dogs were also very they needed to bond also, like our species. So even though they had a certain work purpose, such as hunting or finding food for us or protecting us from some other groups or predators, we found that they were prone to establish a strong relationship with us. And this affected, not just affected our species, but also affected the dog species. A proof of that is that dogs developed their eyebrow muscles in a way that wolves don't have these muscles well developed. It happened because in our communication with dogs, facial expressions were very important. And we selected dogs that could express themselves better for us, and also the ones that could read better our facial expressions and also our emotions. And that is very important for our relationship inside a house with our dogs, to understand our emotions and how they can affect the dog. And I need to be very strong about it, because all of you guys that have dogs in the house that you work with, the people that you work, you're gonna to understand that you, as someone that it's a leader of the process, have to know your emotions, see your behavior and how it influences the environment, because the child behavior and the dog behavior is gonna be a consequence of how the environment is. So if you want a stable child or a stable dog, you have to be a stable person. You have to take a leadership of what's happening inside the house. You have to balance the energies inside the house. You have to work to make the right behaviors happen. I'm gonna give you an example, okay? When you have a dog and a child, you have to be someone that can intermediate this interaction. You are responsible to provide the limits of this interaction between a child and a dog. So you have to show the child how it can touch the dog, where to touch the dog, when to touch the dog, how intense is the touch, how soft is the touch, how the dog looks, and see how the dog feels about the touch. At the same time, some dogs are going to get very excited, and you have to control this energy of the dog, and you have to control it in such a way that the dog don't get too pushy with the child, so it can make this a bad experience for the child. So you have to understand about human behavior, especially child behavior and dog behavior, if you want to make the most of both worlds. You have to help child and the dog how to communicate with each other, and how to use each one's characteristics to make a good experience, a good practice in the way that the child learns something good. Okay, so you cannot take dogs as a pure medicine for any kind of problem behavior that you face in a child. Actually, you have some sort of other child from another universe that can talk to you, the child that you work with. So you have to deal with two. You cannot expect that dogs are perfect for children just because they're dogs. This is true. This is so much truth that when you have service dogs or assistance dogs, they have to be selected and trained along a big amount of time, so you don't make mistakes and you don't create a bigger problem than you already have. So you have to prepare this dog, you have to socialize this dog, you have to show this dog all the things that it's gonna face throughout his life in order to show stable behaviors, stable energy, while dealing with some stressors. Like I said, a high-pitched child can make a dog get very excited and jump on it, and it may scare the child. So you have to control the environment. You have to some sort of train the dog. Okay, Murilo, but I can't train the dog. I'm not a dog trainer, and I cannot afford one, or the family cannot afford one to prepare this dog. Okay, so we have to understand this dog, understand its own personal behaviors, and we have to understand the children or the person that we are working with. So you have to look, okay, what are the behaviors that I have, that I want to teach the child that I'm with, and not just the behaviors about how dealing with dogs. We can go beyond that. We can teach about empathy. You can show the child, how do you think the dog feels when you shout at him? How does the dog feel when you touch smoothly his fur? How the dog is feeling now? You had your breakfast. Isn't the dog wanting his breakfast too? Can we give him can we give it the breakfast? What we can do to make him feel happy? How are you feeling today? Are you happy? Food makes you happy. Let's give food to the dog. So we can use that to make the child. I'm going to use child as example, okay, you guys? So you can make the child see through another individual life, to see, I can put myself in the other one's shoes. I can look the world through the other one's eyes. As we are, in a certain way, similar species, we share a lot of things in common. We can use that to teach empathy. Okay, why do you think the dog is scared of you? Are you scared of things? What things? How can we make the dog feel comfortable? How can you make yourself feel comfortable in certain situations? We can do that. We also can do that to make child develop a sense of responsibility. Okay, what kinds of care does the dog need? What we can have to do? We have to feed them. We have to give him water. We have to clean his space. He needs to pee. He needs to poop. What needs does this dog needs, and what we have to do? What are our responsibilities? There are some articles in some papers that show that sharing with children some responsibilities around dogs, are very powerful to teach them responsibility. Because as a live being, you can make the child see that what she does impacts the life of other. So we can teach empathy, we can teach responsibility, we can teach calmness, because it's indeed something that I teach all families, to see how when you are calm, when you control yourself, you can control others. And I use always as an example, when you go to see a doctor and you have some issue with your health and it's something serious, and the way that the doctor talks to you, it's very important, even when it's something serious, about how are you going to feel. For example, if the doctor starts to stir a lot, you feel that he's insecure, and that affects you, how you feel about him and about what you have. So when you have a dog or even a child, when you feel that you are in control of the situation, you help both to interact. Establish boundaries between them. For example, now the dog is now eating. So we don't put our hand, we don't come close to the dog. We must respect its own space. So when we do that, we teach also the dog and the child to respect space. So if anyone is having problem with a dog in a house, one thing that you have to do is to teach the dog limits and boundaries. For example, don't come close to us until we ask for it. So you have to stay where you are. You don't need to be in a confined space, but you have to respect this area that we are now. And this area can be, for example, the dinner table. Now you don't come close. So you have to be a few steps away from us. We don't want you to be bothering us during this time. So we teach the dog boundaries, and also we can teach the child boundaries. Like I said before, in the eating time, in the dinner time of the dog, we don't touch it. We don't go there, bother the dog while he is eating. So what we have to do is to find what's the behavior that we are looking for in the child or in the dog, and we have to create the situations for that behavior to occur in order to reinforce that behavior. In dogs, we probably gonna use food as a reward, but when you're dealing with human beings, our praise and showing the power of what we are doing and affecting the dog is already a reinforcer. In the ecotherapy that uses horses for therapy in many cases, one of the most powerful effects that you have is that the child, okay, I'm going to keep with the child as an example. One of the most important things, one of the most powerful things in the process is to feel in connection with the animal, and the ability to control so much power, so much size in connection with you. So when the child connects and see that big animal bonds with him, and now I'm going to remember now Avatar, when you have in the movie the moments that they bond, and this is really amazing. I suggest you to look on YouTube on Monty Roberts' videos about he doing the bond with horses. It's something amazing. It's beautiful. It's something that he got shocked how in such short time he can get a very wild animal to become in connection with him. He calls it, he has a name for that process, is the join up. Is that in the end of the process, the wild animals connects with him. And in dogs, I call it the surrender. It's when you connect with the dog and he trusts you so much that he surrenders. He follows you. So it's very beautiful and it's very good. And I see that in children too. Because I see that dogs and children, they share a lot. And that's why we love so much dogs too, because they look like our species when it's young. They're naive, they are happy, they are very, they show their happiness or sadness in a way that is very clear to us. They don't lie, okay? So it's very strong. And also we selected some features in the face of dogs that reminds us, like big round eyes, some short faces that looks like puppies. And we shared this with our species. These round faces, these big eyes, the mouth. And it's so strong that we selected some behaviors that cause some effects on us. Like, for example, everyone must have seen this before. That is the movement, the movement with the head, like, what is happening? And how it impacts ourselves. We see that some cute, and it's a form of communication that we selected through evolution artificial selection through this process of evolution with dogs, and we selected that like looking in the eyes. The only species that looks in you in the eye and in a way to get reference and orientation are the dogs. The only species that do that are the dogs. For the other species, looking inside the eyes is something that is confrontational. So we select that, and that affects us a lot. For example, people say that the dog liked him because the dog looked into their eyes. For example, another important example, Boris Levinson, that was the first psychology to study this relationship and how you can have dogs to help you in psychotherapy. He got this insight one time that he was at his clinical in his office, and he was about to have an appointment with a boy that was autistic, and it had been, I don't know, 5 sessions, and he couldn't communicate with the boy. So in this day, the boy came earlier to the appointment, and Boris wasn't in his office, but his dog was there, and the child entered first. And when Boris Levinson arrived at the room, he saw the boy talking to the dog, and he said, "Oh my God, I never talked to this boy before, and now he's talking to the dog. What is happening here?" And then he said, "There's something here, and I have to study it." So that was the first, how can I say, scientific pinpoint to study that. But we know that for many years before, maybe thousands of years before that animals have an impact in ourselves, and this connection have an impact for ourselves. Such like we have some papers that show that people recovering for heart attacks had a lower chance to have another heart attack if they had a pet dog. So and also we know that the interaction with a dog for someone that has a pet makes us produce more oxytocin, the hormone. So we can produce more well-being hormones. So if we can control that in the interaction with the child, we can produce this in a manner that makes the child feel better, responsible, more empathetic, more assertive in interactions. I'm gonna give an example of what I lived in I guess 2 years ago. Till I was 11 years old, I had a strong fear of dogs. Although I loved dogs, dogs were my life. I read dogs, I painted dogs, I draw dogs every day in everything that I had that was a paper. But I couldn't get closer to any dog, no matter how small they were, and no matter how nice, how cute, how gentle they were. I couldn't. So 2 years ago, a father reached for me asking help because he didn't know about my history, but he asked me because he knew that I was from psychology and also that I deal with dogs and work it in interactions about human and dogs. And he said, we need help because we can go in any park because my boy, he was the oldest one of 4. He keeps searching around all the time, afraid that a dog would show up. And I remember it happened to me. Every big space that I was always alert, afraid that a dog could show up. So he said, we starting to have problems with that. So I said, okay, let's do it. And I had one special dog that was a French bulldog named Nitro. And he was a very stable dog. He was a very calm dog, and it was a very well trained dog. I trained this dog to be a gentle dog, to be a calm dog, to be in several places with me. So, in the first time that they met, the Nitro was inside the house behind the bar, and the boy was standing in the other side of the sidewalk because he couldn't be in the same sidewalk as the wall that separated him from the dog. He couldn't, it was too close for him. So he was very afraid. So this first moment, we talked a lot about it, about how he was feeling about that, what happened with him. And I showed him that he could trust me. And this was along all the time, because when you're dealing with someone that is afraid of something, this person has a certain insecurity about that you're gonna force its boundaries. You're gonna, in certain way, try to surprise him, bringing what he's afraid of. In my case, the dog. This boy was afraid that in somehow I would force him suddenly to be around the dog. And I said, I'm never gonna do that. You can trust me all the time. And if you say to me, I can't go further, I'm gonna respect you. If you say today I cannot do it, I'm gonna respect you. And I show him all the time that every time he said, this is too much for me, I said, okay, that's it. Very good. Next time, we're going to try more. And in our second meeting, what I did is to start to give him the power to control the dog. Because for him, no matter how small you think a French bulldog can be, my French bulldog was very bulky, was very beautiful dog, a very strong dog. But for you, most of you guys, maybe it's just a small dog. But for this boy, he was huge. So what I started, I took a 5-meter leash. I don't know if you use feet in Australia, but you can try to look that later. But it was a 5-meter leash, and I said to him, you're going to guide him with me. So I'm going to guide him in front of you guys. At this first moment, his mother was here with him. And I said, I'm going to be up front with Nitro, but you're going to start to help me. You're going to handle the leash in the end. And so on, I started in every session to get him closer to the dog. Because this dog has also been trained to not look back. So he wasn't worried about the child coming closer. He wasn't interested. And changed the course to look for the child and ask for a pet. No, he was just relaxed. So the child started to trust me and trust the dog. And each step would go in. And that's why I said before about reinforcing what that the positive reinforcement that we were using was to perceive the achievements. So I was always complimenting the boy and always showing his progress. Whoa, are you closer to the dog? I can't believe so. Look, Mom, he's closer to the dog now. Oh my God, he's so bravest. And you can see that little smile coming from the side of the mouth. And in the end, he was leaving. Mom, did you see? I said, now you're going to tell your father. And then I started to take pictures. And I asked him, can you draw yourself and the dog walking together? And he did the draw, and it bring me back. And I get a little bit emotional about that, because it has something with me about the fear that I had, and also to see a boy that was so afraid to start to love the process. And he said, Nitro is my best friend, is my best friend dog in the world. And he was so so proud of himself each step. And Nitro had also that I trained him to do some tricks like being in the sitting down and giving paw, and I say hi. That's when the dog gets on their 2 feet and be like this. So the child started to operate and have the feedback from the dog. And like I said before, to control, to have this power to communicate and control such a beautiful, such a powerful animal has a great impact within us. So the boy started to get more and more confident. And I started to say, okay, can you stand close to him? Can you let him smell you? Can you touch him from the ear? And touch it on the ear, on the tail. And I said, can you go forward? And he tried, and he said, no, that's for me. I said, okay, good. And I kept making him trust me, because when you say that's enough, it's enough. And we kept going, and their parents started to say to me, he waits every week to come to this day. He's anxious to come to this day because it's very important for him, because we made progress each time when we made progress. And it was so nice that he started to share his dreams with me. I share to go in the car with Nitro, and I asked him, would you like to go him in the same car or together, sitting together, connected? I said, sitting connected. And we worked to get this day. So what was the behavior that we wanted? To be in the place that the dog was sitting close to him, touching him in his legs. So we started to practice that with the chair, with the use of the leash, that I could control the dog. If I see that the boy was too afraid, I took the dog a little bit further away and released him and controlled this, and showed the boy that I was always in control. Like I said before, it's important to show everyone that you are in control. Like the doctor, when it's dealing even with something very delicate, that your health or a problematic disease, it's important to show control, to show that you're in control of the situation, that you are a leader, that you know how to handle that, even it's something very difficult or hard to do. So the boy each time, so now he can tell some commands to the dog. Now he can touch the dog. Now he's gonna, I said him, when the next sessions, when he got there, I said, now you're gonna pick up the dog, you are gonna put the leash in, you gonna take by yourself. I'm gonna be around you all the time, I'll be by your side, but you're gonna do it by yourself. And he started to do that. So it was so strong that in a certain moment I said, okay, let's go and try to generalize it, because he was very bonded to Nitro. But we needed to make that it came to other dogs. We couldn't be restricted to Nitro. So I had other 2 dogs that were Ginger and Paws, that are my pit bulls. And I thought it's very meaningful for the boy, because if he was capable to handle pit bulls, he said, I can handle anything else. So we invited him for this, and he, in the first moment, he was not very fond of. But once he got Ginger, that is my female, the smaller one, when he got her and started to walk her and felt powerful, it was amazing. At the moment that he controlled her by himself, he looked at his mom and said, Mom, I'm ready. I want my dog. I want a dog. He said, okay, let's think about it. He said, no, I want now. Today we're going to get a dog for me. And she said, okay, we're at home, we're going to discuss it. But it was so beautiful. And he had so much proud to show his parents that he could control the dog. He could bond with the dog. And it was very, very powerful. And in the end, I got my male dog. It's a large dog with big head, big muscles. And I said, okay, we're going to go to you're going to now handle Boss. Do you want to try it? Okay, I'm going to try it. And he was so proud, so proud. Then he asked his family to come to see him handle the dog. And our last appointment, he was sitting. I have this picture in my Instagram. If you guys would like to see that, there's this picture of the boy with all his brothers, and with the dog by his side, and so proud, so confident that he protected his family. He showed that his family that he had the control. And weeks later, the family was in another city, in a big park, and the father sent me some pictures. He said, "Man, we have to thank you a lot, not only for our son, but for our family, because we have a different life. We can go to places." He said he met 3 dogs, different dogs at this place, and he got the initiative to go to see the dogs and make a friendship with the dogs. He was the one, not his brothers, not his parents, he by himself. And he sent me some pictures of the boy hugging the dog. So it was very powerful for me. So what I mean by that is that we can make feel children or adults or elderly feel special when they connect to animals. And we can select the behaviors of the animal that is going to give this feeling. Not just the feeling of control, but the feeling of companionship, the feeling of being loved, because dogs are very transparent when they want to show love. And that's something that it's been selected for thousands of generations, as I said before, and it can have an amazing impact. Such as there's a joke here in Brazil that says, if you want to know if your wife or your dog loves you, all you have to do is put them both into the trunk of your car, let them for an hour, and then when you up the trunk, you're going to see who is going to be happy for seeing you. So when you arrive, what I want to say is that when you arrive home and the dog is happy to see you, that has a huge impact in your emotions. When you start to show the child that if he gives some food, that was something that I did with the boy, and I said, "Whoa, he eats better from your hand than from mine. Would you like to put some water for the dog?" And he put water for the dog after the walk, and the dog started to drink a lot of water. And I said, "Oh my God, he loves your water. What's wrong with my water?" And he started to build confidence and feel himself special. And this happened all because of the behaviors of the dog. So I selected the behaviors that I want to give a powerful reinforcement for the boy and the behaviors that I want him to perform, and how I want to make him feel to go through all this process. So we can choose other behaviors. In this case, my main objective was to make him be comfortable and close to dogs. But we can choose other behaviors, and we can use the feedback of the dog, of the power, no matter how big or how strong the dog is. It could be a poodle, a pincher, or a chihuahua. You can have these dog behaviors to help you with teach behaviors and have this powerful feedback from the dog. So if you want to teach, for example, some people use dogs as listeners for a child to make the dog as listeners to make the child read a book. So what you can do is take the dog for a walk with the child and start to explore with the child. What kind of story are we going to tell? What kind of book? What chapter are we in the book? So when you get back from the walk, the dog's going to be tired. So I rearranged the contingencies for that, to be a good listener. So I put the dog in a place, in the bed, and I get the child to read for the dog, and the dog's be relaxed, and they can say, "Whoa, see, he's feeling so good about hearing you. You're a good reader." That's very good. It's very important. Bo, what we're gonna tell him more? What do you think is he dreaming now? Empathy, to be in the other shoes. What is he dream of? What are your dreams? We can use the dog also to be a pathway to talk about things. We can use it like a third person. But when you talk about dog, you're also talking about the child or the elder, something that they have difficult to speak in the first person. But when you go through third person, they project themselves in the animal and they can help us to give us important things. For example, what do you think is the dog feeling? Why is he feeling that? Would you feel like that too if that happened to you? How are you feeling today? So dogs can be a path to communicate with someone that is not feeling comfortable enough to talk with you. So we can only see the, the behaviors that we want, and to see how we get this powerful behaviors of the dog and how they powerfully affects our behaviors, to use them as arrangements for behaviors to happen and to reinforce behaviors and make the person feel loved, feel powerful, feel connected to the wild, because in some sort of way it's a wild animal, and to be a whisperer is something that makes us feel very special. To be a dog whisperer, it's something special. I can speak with the dog listens to me, we have something special. So we what I want to say in the end is that we have to look what is our need to teach the to develop or make this child, this elder, or whenever we are working with, what we have, what we need to teach or make feel, and how the dogs can help me through his behaviors to give that, to make this path, to go in this journey of development. So as I said, in this case of the boy that was afraid, I made him feel very powerful about himself. In some sort of way, martial arts also help to make the child to feel comfortable and self-confident. And also talking to dogs, controlling dogs is something that has a big impact on children. Like I said, in ecotherapy, it's very powerful to control a horse, to be in that height, looking everyone down, and said, okay, we're walking together. So walk with the dog, but it's not just any dog. You have to train. We have also to train the dog. So if you want to train a child for some things, we also have to train the dog. But we can do this together. We need some behaviors that are not very complex. For example, like to wait to receive the bowl with food. All you have to do is to hold the food in your chest, and somehow the dog is gonna put his butt and look up to wait for the food. It's gonna get tired. It's gonna put his butt in the floor and look up. And now you teach him sit. And if you put the food down and the dog comes fast to eat, all you have to do is to repeat the step, bring back, and make the dog wait. And then it's going to be a moment where the dog's going to wait you for a release command, like, okay, eat it. And then you teach the dog to be calm. You teach sit. You can teach the child to make the dog sit and to make the dog wait and to make the dog being in control. And you have to teach the child to be calm, to make the dog calmer. And this is a powerful feedback, it's a powerful positive reinforcement for being calm, being in control. Okay, breathe. Let's see how you gonna influence the dog to be calm too. So there's awareness about how am I feeling? How is my breathing? Okay, and I see, and it's beautiful because the dogs react very fastly for the way that we are, how can I say, about our energy. I'm going to use this word. It's not the proper word, but I guess everyone's going to understand that my emotion and my energy. So if I'm cool, if I'm talking like this, you're going to see that's going to impact the dog. There's also a video in my Instagram where I'm dealing with a 60-year-old lady that has joint problems in her knees, and she has a Doberman. And she needs, and it's a young Doberman, and she's full of energy. And I'm showing her how she can handle the dog for not pushing her, not jumping on her, or anything else. And as she's a very high energy dog, I just made a little pat in his head, and she got very excited. And I said, okay, now it's time to turn her off. And I showed her how myself, my posture, my emotion at that moment has a powerful effect over the dog. So if you can teach someone that's anxious, that suffers from anxiety, you can teach in a controlled moment how to deal with the dog's anxiety, and the person be aware of how he did that to control the dog, he can control himself about that. Remember how you did with the dog? Now we have to do it ourselves. And you can teach things. So we have to, it's not just put a child and a dog together and the miracle is going to happen. You have to think about, you have to plan about, but you can achieve amazing things throughout this relationship, throughout this connection. But you have also to understand about human behavior and dog behavior. I don't know. I have no idea if I'm taking too much, Elder. I don't know how's it going, but I love to speak about dogs and I get very excited. And I don't know how's our time. It's been 51 minutes.
Yeah, we're almost at the end of time. Thank you so much. That was like really insightful. I'm sure that so many people feel the same way. And just like thinking about dogs in that way, providing that really unique opportunity for kids to develop empathy, learn responsibility, enhance social interactions, and contribute to the overall emotional and social development. I know there's a lot of really good research about anxiety, that dogs can reduce anxiety for kids. A lot of people here today on the webinar might be supporting an autistic child. And I was just thinking something, you made a reference to, using art, like getting the child to like draw the dog and, in that, which was really cool. And I was just thinking maybe, how we might try and support a child to understand their physical body a bit more and their sensations, and draw a body map and look at those kind of basic interoception skills. Maybe they could do that with a dog. They could like trace the dog and try and understand how the dog was feeling and try and use it in that way. Like, it's just so cool. Yeah, I don't know if you've got any ideas around that. I think co-regulation, kids feeling overwhelmed and having that dog, that non-judgmental. And as you say, you have to put the effort in. You've got to train them, not just pick up a dog from the pet shop and go, great, my job is done. You've got to put the work in. But what a fantastic opportunity for some of these kids to really kind of get that first taste and understanding of their bodies, a dog's body, how all that works. It's really super cool.
Yeah, you can incentivate the child to look what we have in similar, what we have different, what we have. We put our both feet on the ground. The dog has 4. So what we do, does they have do they have fingers? How is our finger? So they can do that with the mouth. Do we use our mouth? Do we use our hand? So what we can do with your hands, let's touch the dog with your hands. Let's see the fur. Let's feel the fur. Let's feel how the dog feels about our touch. Does he like it? Where do you like to be touched? Where you don't like to be touched? We can talk about that. Okay, but the dog accepts, for example, like trimming the nails. You can say that, okay, the dog doesn't like that you hold his paw, but we can make him feel comfortable. Okay, let's try with your hand. And we can use the dog, like I said, a path throughout the journey, and someone that it can mirror the child can mirror off. Okay, he doesn't like it, I don't like it, but he can do it, so I can. So if the dog can do it, I can do it. Okay. So, you know, like, I'm like, if my bigger brother can do it, I can do it too. So you just have to imagine situations and create opportunity for them to happen.
It's brilliant. We are unfortunately out of time. I so enjoyed listening to you. I could sit here and listen to you for hours, but unfortunately we all have to kind of get going. I just want to encourage everyone to look up Murilo's Instagram page. We've put that in the chat. No doubt there's some really cool ideas and things to watch there. So please follow him. I want to thank you so much for your generosity and sharing all your experiences and expertise. It was so lovely to be able to get the opportunity to meet you. And I know that everyone was going to be super excited and really be able to use. You had some really practical strategies and some really good things to think about in how we support kids and dogs and all the things that we have to do. So thank you so very much. That was really brilliant. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys for everything. It was a great pleasure. I apologize again for my English, but I hope I could send the message to you all. Okay, Professor Gusso, thank you again, and for you around the globe that have been with us for this webinar. My best regards, and I hope to see you in some other opportunities.
Thank you, Murilo, very much. We'd like just to finish to say that we are going to provide a free webinar each per month, and next month we already have we can announce who is going to be with us. It's going to be Professor Bernard Gehring from University of South Australia, a brilliant mind, and he is coming to help us to rethink human behavior and rethink how to support people and help them to achieve their goals in their lives. So thanks very much. Thank you very much for being here with us. See you in the next webinar.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Murilo. Bye. Bye, everybody.